Good morning, Mr. Ho.
Alright, morning.
Could you give us a brief summary of the Hwa Chong history curriculum?
Basically, the history curriculum is designed along the idea that we must give students foundational skills that will allow them or enable them to take history at A levels confidently and competently.
Okay, so what are the demands of the Hwa Chong history curriculum?
The first and foremost demand of the curriculum is, as in the integrated program indicates, the students have to be independent learners, and despite having a set textbook, many students are required to read beyond the knowledge that is given to them. Research is important as well, particularly in the upper secondary years of year 3 and year 4.
Hwa Chong emphasizes a lot on critical thinking. Can you show us how critical thinking is used in integrated humanities history?
In history, critical thinking is always present, particularly in everyday lessons, because to interpret historical sources and knowledge requires the students to take on the role of the devil's advocate, to ask questions on what if and how would this have any positive or negative impact on events that are coming after. Students are also expected to know impact and consequences, and therefore students are expected to give a critical answer that actually explains and not simply describe an event.
What are the common problems that secondary 1 students face in history?
Most students, when they come from primary school, are not very confident in history because they believe that it's a new subject. But in reality, most of them would have covered elements of local history, particularly Singapore history, in social studies lessons or during their reading of myths, legends, or even their visits to museums.
So what pieces of advice would you like to give to the Sec 1s about this subject?
Well, I believe that all Sec 1s should have a passion for reading. They should try to look for information on their own, and if possible, they should also be very proactive in visiting many of the local historical sites so that they might get a glimpse of, in real life, of what they will be studying in a textbook and classroom.
Okay, so how does geography and history dovetail together?
The reason why it's called Integrated Humanities is because we believe that history could not be studied in isolation. Geography plays a very important role because in order for students to understand, for example, trade routes or the unique geographical location of Singapore that made it into an entrepot, they need to know the exact location and where Singapore is situated in terms of the old trade routes as well as our global position in the among the greater powers that surround us.
Okay, thank you for your time, Mr. Ho.
Alright, you're welcome.